What's going on, everybody? This is your boy, the Sports Dr. Spock, Mickey Coleman, coming at you with another hot video. Today, we're going to talk about how gang culture has shaped some of our biggest and most well-known and most visited urban cities. So without any further wait, let's get into the video right now.
It breathes with the energy of millions of lives, its streets like arteries, carrying the flow of commerce, art, ambition. But for every story of success written in glittering skyscrapers, another is etched into the cracked pavement of forgotten neighborhoods. In these spaces, where opportunity feels distant, survival is a daily negotiation. Groups form out of necessity. They are a response to the city's failures. We often call these groups gangs. Their stories are not simple tales of good versus evil. They are deeply woven into the fabric of American urban life, with unique origins in the concrete landscapes of Los Angeles, the windswept blocks of Chicago, the dense boroughs of New York. These cities, each a titan of American culture and economy, have also been crucibles for some of the nation's most enduring gang structures. Their growth was not accidental. Los Angeles is a city of dreams, but for many it has been a landscape of harsh realities. The story of its most famous gangs, the Crips, the Bloods, is tied to the great migrations of the 20th century. Black families moved from the South, seeking refuge from Jim Crow, hoping for jobs in a booming California economy. Instead, they were met with restrictive housing covenants that pushed them into segregated, under-resourced neighborhoods like South Central. The dream soured as factories closed and jobs disappeared, leaving a generation of young men adrift in a city that had promised them everything, but delivered very little.
That's happened to black people pretty much everywhere in the United States. We pretty much moved from one part of the United States to set refuge from another part of the United States, seek refuge from another part of the United States. And when we set up in another part and start growing our communities, somehow things are always taken away from us. That didn't just happen in LA, that's happened all over the country to black people in the United States. But let's carry on. We're talking about how gangs shaped.
The social fabric was thin, and the official systems of support were either absent or hostile. It was in this environment of isolation and economic despair that the first street organizations began to form in the late 1960s and early 1970s. Initially, groups like the one started by Raymond Washington were conceived as a form of self-protection,
and Tookie Williams,
meant to be a shield against other neighborhood groups, and significantly, against the constant harassment and brutality of the police. These young men wanted a sense of family, a place where they belonged and were respected. Over time, protective instincts curdled into territorial disputes. Groups fractured and multiplied, adopting colors, adopting names to mark their identity and turf.
And not just that, there's certain sets of gangs. So you might think it's just Crips and Bloods, but there are another set of Bloods that lives on this street or live in this neighborhood that control that neighborhood, and another set of Crips that might run this neighborhood or that neighborhood. They're the same gang, but they're different sets. Like LA Crip might be a little bit different than a Houston Crip, or there's certain rules that they have that differ from each set.
Chicago's history with organized street gangs is older and more deeply entrenched than almost any other American city.
Goes back
the roots
to Capone.
go back to the early 20th century, but the modern era of super gangs formed in the 1950s and 60s. Gangster disciples, vice lords. As black families arrived during the Second Great Migration, they were confined to the South Side's Black Belt. Packed into failing high-rises, Robert Taylor homes, vertical cities of poverty, isolated from Chicago's economic life. Institutions withered.
Shout out to my boy Corey Holcomb. He claims the Robert Taylor homes.
Police were seen as an occupying force. Jobs were virtually non-existent. The political machine offered little beyond neglect. In this vacuum, charismatic leaders organized thousands. They created hierarchies, bylaws, and a sense of order where the city had provided only chaos. Part social club, part protection racket, part alternative government for the disenfranchised.
That ain't Chicago.
I spoke with Tara from the West Side. Her brother joined the Vice Lords as a teen, not to be a criminal, but to belong when he felt powerless. He saw leaders who commanded respect, provided for families, and stood up to a system that wrote them off. The group gave identity and a code, even when that code led to prison.
Tara chose another path: tutoring, sports, job training. You can't just tell a kid to say no, you must give them something to say yes to.
New York City's gang story is a sprawling epic, mirroring the city's diverse, shifting identity. From ethnic gangs of the 19th century to the youth crews of the 70s.
Before we get into that, Chicago gang started pretty much with organized crime, Al Capone and all that during Prohibition. When Al Capone made millions of dollars basically bootlegging. That's where a lot of the Chicago gangs, organized crime started, but now it moved on to, I guess, black urban gangs. So Chicago has a longer history of street gangs, as said in this video, than pretty much any other city in the United States.
Groups formed to claim space and identity. The modern era for black and Latino gangs was forged in the South Bronx. Landlords torched buildings for insurance. The Bronx became rubble, abandonment, and profound poverty. Out of these ashes, two forces emerged. One, formidable gangs, savage skulls, black spades, fighting brutal turf wars, a raw expression of anger and an attempt to impose order on chaos. The other was a cultural revolution: hip-hop. DJs, MCs, graffiti artists, B-boys created a vibrant art form giving voice to the voiceless, battling with words and creativity instead of just fists and weapons. The connection between street life and the art was inseparable. Jamal grew up in that era. He joined a small crew for camaraderie and safety on his walk to school. He admitted to fights and petty crime, feeling the rush of belonging to a feared group, but his passion was poetry. He wrote of burned-out buildings, police sirens, the fierce pride of friends, and the pain of losing them. A youth worker opened a small studio and urged him, put those words to a beat. He felt a new power, creation. He drifted
He
from the
got
crew,
tattoos
becoming a
all over
neighborhood
himself like
storyteller.
Tekashi.
While Los Angeles, Chicago, and New York have distinct flavors, they're bound by recurring themes: the underlying architecture of gang formation, especially in black communities. The most fundamental is economic deprivation. When pathways to living wages are blocked by failing schools, systemic racism in hiring, and the flight of industry, underground economies emerge. Gangs often step into this void, offering survival, drug sales, extortion, or other illicit avenues.
That's also how the Italian mob started too. Just really to create an economic base for their people.
When no options are on the table. A second thread is the breakdown of family structures, exacerbated by state policies. Decades of mass incarceration removed fathers, brothers, and uncles, leaving a void in mentorship. Without positive role models, a local leader projecting strength becomes a surrogate. Racial segregation and police hostility catalyze an us versus them mentality. Gangs become perceived protectors against a hostile outside. Finally, the human need for identity and respect, a name, colors, symbols, a reputation, status that demands recognition, even if born of fear. These four threads, poverty, family breakdown, segregation, and the search for identity, are woven into the tapestry of gang life in urban America. The consequences radiate outward. The most immediate cost is measured in violence and loss of life, turf wars, retaliations, internal conflicts, creating a pervasive atmosphere of fear that blankets neighborhoods. Children cannot play freely. Elders hesitate to sit outside. Ambient trauma drives PTSD, anxiety, and depression, especially among the young, who normalize violence. Economically, entrenched gang activity depresses investment. Services
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to.
disappear. Unemployment rises. The underground economy tempts survival. The justice system often deepens the wound. Stop and frisk, gang injunctions, criminalizing a generation. A record blocks employment, housing.
See, this is how a lot of the crime, she just explained to you how a lot of the crime in the black community started. Mass incarceration, get the fathers out the homes. And when they are there, if they don't make enough money, you could promise the women aid if they get that man the fuck out the house. When you've already created or destroyed the economic base for that man, so he had to create an economic base for himself, which led him to prison, and which led the mother to pretty much raise the kids on her own. That's how all that started, and how all the crime in urban areas started, just like that. And this is also what made gangs necessary in some of those communities. This video just broke most of that down.
Housing, education, locking people out of the legitimate economy and pushing them back to the streets. The deepest cost is intergenerational trauma. Children who witness violence, lose parents, and carry scars into adulthood. Absence and grief shape parenting, choices, and worldview. The poison seeps into the family tree, affecting lives not yet born. To say the problem is hopeless is to surrender. Hope is an active strategy. The most effective solutions are ground up and address root causes. Create real economic opportunity, skills training, local entrepreneurship, ban the box, because a steady living wage job is the most powerful anti-gang program. Reinvest in social infrastructure, fund schools to reduce class sizes and expand after school. Create safe centers, parks, and libraries.
If anybody is watching this that's in any urban city, Detroit, Chicago, Los Angeles, New York, Houston, Atlanta, put in the comment section some groups that help teach economic development in your areas, so other people can seek them out and people can be helped. I don't know about Detroit. I know groups that in Detroit to do great things, like the Detroit 300, that pretty much looks after our community in Detroit. So what are some of the groups in your city?
Libraries that give youth a place to go. Mentorship, arts, and sports provide structure, identity, and belonging. The same needs gangs exploit. Credible messengers, often former members, connect with at-risk youth in ways others cannot. Employing interrupters reduces shootings and retaliations. Fund these efforts. Reform systems, shift to restorative justice, genuine community policing, dismantle segregation in housing and education. The path out is a network of bridges to jobs, to education, to healing, and to a society that finally recognizes every life as worthy of investment and hope.
Mm-mm. Well, that was going to be pretty much it for this video. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and let me know what you think about this video. There will be more videos like this coming to this channel, and I hope you enjoyed it. This is your boy, the Sports Dr. Spock, and I will be gone for now. Peace out.